Hi everyone. I barely see you. It's pretty bright up here. I'm really happy to be able to talk to you today about a project that's really close to my heart, and it took, during the pandemic, it got delayed many times, and I wasn't sure where to present it, and now finally at this great conference, a new project will see the light of the day, and I'm really, really happy about it. So, just short introduction about myself. Hi, I'm Robert. I'm at my day job, I'm CISO at TeamViewer. I did my master's degree at the Napier University in Edinburgh roughly over a year ago about NLP-assisted analysis of threat reports. We already heard a really good talk from Patrick yesterday about current applications of NLP for parsing threat reports, which was a really, really good talk. And my master's thesis involved developing a tool chain to do that as well. And I had some pitfalls, and it took me now a year to develop a public tool to tackle that. So one step back, what's the issue? If you look at the current artificial intelligence landscape, you'll see that machines are still stupid, right? So still simple tasks need a lot of predefined data set input. You need proper and clean data sets to train the machines to do what you want them to do in 99.99999% of cases, right? And so one issue we have in cyber is that, at least when I was doing my research, there was no good data set available that you can use in a scientific manner to work not only with NLP problems, but also AI, KI, and the likes. So, but if we want to evolve from the regex matching we probably all do in our day-to-day lives and have a bit more semantic parsing of reports and unstructured information, we need a good, clean corpora. We need a data set that everyone can use to build pipelines and analytical machines that are verifiable and that are also in a scientific manner reproducible, and you can verify someone else's research, right? That's what we do in science. When we look at reports, we know, okay, there are many reports that are released for various reasons. Most of the time, the reason is marketing, but probably not every vendor would admit. Sometimes it's also we want to be doing sharing and caring right and inform the community about stuff. An issue which I also realized is, when I was going through all of the links in some of the databases, is cybersecurity companies get bought all the time, right? They get merged, they get split, they get shifted somewhere, they disappear. And all of those knowledge of countless hours of a lot of people in this room, actually, probably, spent to write good public reports is buried, sometimes lost. And I think that's sad. I think some of the smartest minds of our community spend a lot of time writing those reports, and it's just a shame if this knowledge gets buried and lost. And that's something I want to change. I built a tool which consists of 3 parts. On the one hand, it's a library manager that takes a lot of existing sources for threat intelligence reports out there. I come back to that in a minute. And downloads all of those data and registers entries in a database. There is an API to search in this data, and there is a front end, which is still under construction. I learned JavaScript in React 2 weeks ago, so don't go hard on me, please, okay? So I really do suck at JavaScript, but it's usable for now, right? But we'll see. And all of this are the 3 building blocks of the threat intelligence library, how I envision it. So how does this work? I don't know if any one of you knows, Casanova was famous for his romantic escapades, but actually he was a librarian. Most of his time he was a librarian. So this is why my library manager is called Casanova. And what the library manager does is parses multiple sources with loaders. We all know this, right? Parsing data and stuff. And then it generates 4 files for every report found. PDF, the original file, we don't touch it. We want to keep it as is. We have a text file that gives us a clean, plain text representation of the PDF. Anyone did PDF parsing in the past knows the pain, right? Yeah. But you can do it. And then a JSON file, which contains all of the metadata, all of the information that we have about the report, and a JPEG file for the front page for visual purposes. So, and at the same time, the JSON information is indexed in a search database that we can use for full text searching in the whole corpus. For me, it was important to have a file-based representation of the library, because that is what we need in science, right? You need to have like a data set that is a bunch of files, and you can copy it somewhere, you can verify it, you can use hashes and stuff and say, okay, this is exactly the data set that we did our paper on, and somebody else can take the same data set and verify it. That's like the ideal world, and I wanted to go as close to this as possible. So this is why I work a lot on the file level, but have some databases that contain the information from the files that we can have all of this nice machine-to-machine interaction. What the library manager also does is it downloads threat actor profiles from various public sources. I come back to them also in a minute. What I'm mainly interested is names, synonyms, aliases. I want to map them to the reports. It's really YOLO, right? But it actually works pretty well to at least have some basic linking of stuff left and right. And it actually helps you to also navigate the library, because you can have some pins, you can search for stuff that you already know. On all of those names and synonyms and aliases, you can also attach a value to them if you have a good, clean corpus. Because what you can do now is something called TF-IDF. You can measure the relevance of an alias against the corpus if you know how big the corpus is, and that the corpus is relevant. So what you can do is you can say, okay, I have threat actor X that has 20 synonyms. How relevant is any of those aliases? And you can say, okay, the half of those aliases never appeared in any public report. So probably we can ignore it if you build some larger clusters and stuff. So this is like a really, really basic example of some scientific-like research you can do on such a corpus. I just wanted to bring like one example that's maybe understandable. Also, yeah, we have all those nice names like bureaucratic Dackel. By the way, I used one of those nice online artificial intelligence picture generators to generate that picture of the Dackel with the books. I really love that. This is what came out with the imaginary name. There we go. Okay, what's this? Okay. Coming back to the sources. Standing on the shoulder of giants. So this would not be possible without some excellent foundational work by all of these people. So we already have something like Malpedia, which is already a crowdsourced platform where people take care of entries and store current information and clean up the database. So it's really one of the places that is very close to my vision. And they already do stuff for binaries and Java rules and things like that. That is already, I would already call that like a really good library. Then we have stuff like OTX. You can get some leads from there. We have the excellent ETDA threat actor library, who they also give you machine parsable information, which I really appreciate. It's really well done. We have the two main GitHub repositories that provide us with somewhat updated PDFs today. We have CyberMonitor, we have APT Notes. APT Notes seems to be a little bit dormant, not much updates. CyberMonitor gets regularly updated, so that's still like a somewhat good source. And also they approve pull requests, which is always a good sign for a healthy project, right? And then we have some really mature data sets, like we have the SecureWorks threat profiles, which you can get as JSON, which is amazing. Whoever approved that at SecureWorks, that you can also get it as JSON, well done. And we have, of course, the MITRE ATT&CK dataset with a lot of, they call it intrusion sets and threat actors. I know naming, but I had to go somewhere, right? I had to choose one naming scheme. I went with threat actors for now, but I already had some discussions outside that for most of what I call a threat actor in the platform, you would actually call it an intrusion set and be STIX compliant, right? So, okay. That's the database. That's the sources. Now, an API. I imagine the API being somewhat of a robot librarian, right? You go to a library, you want to have a book, you want to have many books, you want to have more information about those books, you want a clean index, you want to see what's in the library, you want to look for keywords, you just want to have an easy access to knowledge. And that's what I envisioned when I built the first version of the API. Also, you can get like detailed information for each report. You can get lists of reports. You can search everything you need. I'm really sorry for some people who can't see the color green very well. That's not really accessible. I'm really sorry about that. But I had to make this out of my code editor, so I hope some people can see something. So I brought just an example of a library entry for a report. What you can see is we have like a header with all of the past metadata out of the PDF. We have two created and updated entries for the database entry itself, and then we have file creation and modification that gets passed out of the PDF. Yes, PDF parsing, again, it's fun. And then you have a file hash. I went with a SHA-1 hash for now. I know some people will scream at me for that. But actually, a lot of the original sources still use SHA-1, so it makes sense to carry that for now. But it's easy, as we have a file-based corpus, we can extend the data model for every hash we want, because we have the original file. We pass a title, we pass an author. File size, you see a snippet of the plain text entry, which is also part of the JSON, which I find really convenient because it makes the JSON really big, but it compresses really well because it's JSON, right? Plain text and JSON compresses really well, not only in databases, but also on the wire. So it's not a huge issue. Maybe for my traffic costs, but we see that later. Also, with every entry, you have an array of sources that provided me with that PDF. So with some PDFs, you will find them in multiple sources, right? They will be in APT Notes, they will be in CyberMonitor, they might be on OTX, they might be in all of those sources. And what I do is I keep always keep the source reference for everything. And this is also, for me, important from a scientific perspective to see, okay, which sources provide that. Somebody suggested that I could do a timely analysis, but as those sources are not updated in real time, it's not really good yet to make a timely analysis, but maybe in the future. What is also in the report is an array of reference URLs. Those will be the URLs where I downloaded the PDF. So you will also have the original links. And I also take track of file names that those PDFs have in various sources. And I also attach this. Attached to every library entry is also a threat actor array, which also includes an entry for every actor from every source. And I divide them by the source name. And this is something that I don't know if I came up with that I don't think I'm that smart, but for me, the source name notation, like I do it here, having the source, double point, and then the threat actor name that was brought to me by that source, and keep it like that, it's a really good way later in the UI and in every other element to see from which source, which profiles matched through the report, that you can also get an idea about how good those profiles are when they are supplied by those sources. So this is in there. And then you have some Unix timestamps. For some reasons, some tools don't like proper RFC formatted dates. So I also took every date that I have as a Unix timestamp as well, and put it in there for machine readable purposes. As you can see here with the minus, this PDF did not have a modification date, for example. And at the end, there's an array where you can find all of the files, so the PDF, the text file, and the image file. The JSON file would be kind of redundant in an API, so it's not in there. And those are the CDN links that you can download everything from. I built all of this on open source, so I'm like a huge fan of open source software. And so it was important to me to not use any commercial software to build this. Most of the backend is written in Go with Fiber Web Framework. I did use the good and trusty Postgres for all of the metadata, and it serves me well. PDF parsing, I do that with Apache Tika, and I must say it's really reliable. I did not have any crashes or unwanted side effects with the whole corpus. So, good stuff. I use Swagger for API documentation, and for the full text, I use a pretty new, probably pretty new search server called malicious, which is written in Rust. Yeah, more type-safe software. Yeah. And it also is pretty effective and allows me to host this on my own costs. Right? So yeah. A little bit about the roadmap. So you'll probably see in a minute where we are right now, and I just want to talk about a little bit how I envision this project in the future. Right now, my priority is to make the web UI a little bit nicer, because it's probably the first thing people will see when they encounter the project. They want to click somewhere, they want to see something, and then probably the people will start to use the API. So I will put some more time into the UI. The next step, and that's like the real important milestone I want to get at, is I want this to be a crowdsourced library in the good spirit of Malpedia, where we can actually see that having a crowdsourced way of updating information really works. I also want that for Oracle. And this is why I want Oracle to be its own source of metadata. for those reports to have an even cleaner corpus in the future. For example, sometimes the titles don't get parsed well from the PDFs. If we have roughly 3,000 PDFs in there, so if everyone in this room just annotates one PDF, and we do that like 3 days, we're probably done, right? And so we can also take, I would also like to take advantage of the community to update the corpus, right? Why rely on those asynchronous sources for updates, and when we have this huge community, and if you see, okay, the NISA threat landscape report was released today. Is it in the library? No, so put it in there, right? And that's like the kind of spirit I want to have in the future. And I want to make it easy to submit something. All of your time is absolutely valuable. We all have like too much to do probably. So I want to make it easy to submit something and work for the greater good to make the library relevant and up to date. I'm really interested in NLP-based research as well, so I'll probably have some more really good talks with Patrick about that. We already had some good talks yesterday. My great vision for the future is to have ready, usable NLP models that are trained on a cyber-specific corpus, this corpus, to be used to annotate arbitrary text that you encounter in your day-to-day lives that have something to do with cyber. And this is like the big picture where I want to get at. This will hopefully be my next talk. I hope that I'll be able to achieve that in a year or so. But this would be like the grand idea to also have better NLP models for the community. Also, of course, using open source frameworks like Spacey or NLTK, which are already like used in a lot of scientific papers for that purpose. Yeah, I want to have a small call to action. Some presentation trainer told me you should also have a call to action, so here it is. I would be interested if you have any public CTI report sources, and with public I really mean TLP clear, then I would be really interested to learn about them, and I want to integrate them. I'm currently running that at my own rented servers, and I have a CDN that I pay for, and my current calculations tell me I will be able to afford rent if all of you integrate that in their SOA systems. But I might also wake up to a nightmare. So if somebody has an idea about S3 CDN sponsorship, I'll be happy to hear. And also, if you see the front end and you think, this could be better, please, if you know some React and JavaScript, just join the course. Also, a logo would be nice. I'm currently using emoticons in lack of a logo. And nowadays, you have to have a cybersecurity logo for everything. Hashtag spooky SSL, spooky open SSL, sorry. So yeah, if someone is like really creative and wants to do a logo in Paint or something, I'll also take that. Okay, here it is. Have fun. Yeah, if you encounter any problems, want to follow updates, you can find the Twitter. I don't know if Twitter will be cool in a year, but let's go with Twitter for now, okay? So for now, updates will be on Twitter, maybe soon on Mastodon, don't know. This is the handle for the project. I'll be posting regular updates there. I might, the follows are coming in. I might have to update the API at some point based on your feedback, hopefully. So I announce also every deprecation or API changes there. Okay? Have fun. And if you want to reach out to me, have some I'll also be around for questions and stuff. Just add me on Twitter or Keybase. DMs are open. Thank you.